This is astronaut Bob Grodin before his first moonwalk. More than one of the men who were part of that first Apollo program found it difficult to readjust to life back on Earth, but no one more so than this man. Here he is, as he is today. 5 years on. There were psychological factors, it seemed, which on the surface could explain away the changes in personality, the instability, the breakdown of former relationships. But what exactly were those psychological factors?
It's really something super fantastic here. You could never imagine this. Roger. We know about that. Could you go the other way? Go back the other way. Well, that's kind of rich and, pretty spectacular. My God. What is that there? That's Bravo. What the hell is that? Go Tango. Tango. Now, there's kind of light there now. Roger. We got it. We've marked it. Lose communication. Bravo Tango. Bravo. Tango. Select Jezebel. Jezebel. Yeah. But this is unbelievable. Recorder off. Bravo Tango. Bravo Tango.
Bravo Tango, Jezebel. A form of code, but meaning what? Certainly nothing to the 600 million people listening on Earth below. From Boston, Massachusetts, we arranged for ex-astronaut Bob Grodin to talk to us. The interview was filmed to be edited later. Can you hear me all right? Can you hear me in Boston?
Yeah, go ahead.
Grodin showed no reluctance to discuss the breakdown he'd suffered after his return from space. But nothing remarkable seemed likely to come from the interview until I asked this question. It's been suggested, among others by some very responsible people, that you, all of you on the Apollo program, saw far more out there than you've been allowed to admit publicly. Would you like to comment on that suggestion?
What the hell are you trying to do to me? Can I ask you, what the hell are you trying to do to me?
Well, I was only trying to...
You trying to screw me? Is that what you're trying to do? You trying to screw me? Like that dumb bastard Ballantyne? Is that what you're trying to do? Well, why me? I was up there to do a job, man. That's all I was up there to do. I don't have to answer questions.
Oh, hell. What's the matter with this thing now?
It's not this end. Somebody's pulled a switch somewhere.
That somewhere, so far as we could discover, was neither in London nor in Boston, but in the satellite connecting the two. The incident has never been explained. Nevertheless, that one word, Valentine, was enough to send Colin Benson and a camera operator, with some very innocent-looking home movie equipment, across the Atlantic posing as tourists. This is what they brought back on 8mm film.
I would never have found Bob Grodin unless he had been willing that I should. But starting with the few leads I had, I was brought eventually to the remote bungalow where he now lives.
You want a beer?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Just one. I'll wait.
Annie! Annie, can we have a couple of cold beers?
Well, what do you want to do? Do you want to do it out here or in there? Doesn't make any difference. I don't think we're going to have a private conversation.
We're from here.
Yeah? Michael, baby, meet the professor.
Hi. Thank you.
You're going to reveal all? Well, that's Annie. She's not my daughter, right? You put that on the record. Right?
You got it, Bob.
She's a great kid. Well, without her, I'm pretty lucky.
We talked for an hour before Grodin became willing to discuss our previous and abortive satellite interview.
You try that.
What exactly can you tell us about Valentine?
Well, what I remember of Valentine is he showed up at NASA with some tape that he made. And he got pretty damn excited when they put it back in that jukebox.
Jukebox?
Well, the decoder. I mean, you can pick up a signal if you got the equipment, but you can't unscramble that.
Without NASA's equipment?
That's right. And some young guy helped him do it. You should have known better than that.
Was it this man?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it looks like him. Look, are you sure you don't want bourbon?
No, beer's fine. What you're saying is that Valentine was killed because of what he discovered on that tape.
Well, I'm saying nothing. I just saw the way that that those guys looked at him, and I knew those looks because they looked at me the same way.
Those guys?
Look, come on, get a real drink, will you? Come on.
Okay, Bob. What did happen out there? The moon landing?
Well, we had kind of a big disappointment. And we didn't get there first.
What do you mean?
Those later Apollos, they're just a smoke screen. They cover up what's really going on out there. And the bastards, they didn't even tell us. Nothing.
Well, what is going on?
Well, how the hell should I know? You asked the Pentagon, you phoned the Kremlin after all they were first out of space. I mean, you don't think they just gave up, do you? Give up? I want a drink. You want a drink?
No, Bob, you got to tell me, what is going on? I mean, what did you see?
Well, we came down the wrong place. And it was crawling. Maybe what we were on looked like a milkworm.
You're talking about men from Earth?
Do you think that they need all that crap down in Florida to get two guys up there on a bicycle? The hell they do. You know why we're there? To give them a good PR story for all the hardware they're shooting out into space. Now, we're nothing. Now, we're nothing. You know why we're there? To keep you bums happy. Stop you from asking questions about what the hell's really going on out there. Look, that's it. That's it. End of story. That's the finish. Let's look. Frank?
Fear, suspicion, unanswered questions, possibly murder. What were we dealing with? Back in London, we did what we could to investigate the claims made by ex-astronaut Bob Grodin. Catherine White's report.
Maybe paving the way for more to come.
Though on the broader issues of Soviet-US cooperation, there is an element of mystery which puzzles many people in my field. To put it at its simplest, none of us can understand how it is that the peace has been maintained for the past 25 years.
You mean the experts are baffled?
But also, for once, in agreement. The popular myth that it's been improved for the balance of nuclear power doesn't, frankly, hold up entirely. And the more you look at it, the less sense it makes. There are too many imbalances, especially when you put it in the perspective of history.
So what is your explanation?
Essentially, what we're suggesting is that at the very highest level of East-West diplomacy, there is operating a factor of which we know nothing. Now, it could just be, that this unknown factor is a massive but covered operation in space. As for the reason behind it, well, we're not in the business of speculation.
T-minus, guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Tower cleared.
This is the colossal power needed to pull clear from the Earth's gravitational field and put, in Grodin's words, 2 men on a bicycle on the surface.
I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
But suppose such immense power did not have to be chiefly consumed in merely getting into space, but could start from space. What kind of travel would that bring within our grasp?
Obviously, we could go further with less power, or send a much larger craft. In fact, the only way we're going to see space travel on any scale is by this kind of extraterrestrial launching. For instance, from a space platform orbiting the Earth.
Or the moon.
Sure, yeah. If we could get the material there to build the craft, it'd make real good sense.
Could we transport the materials there?
It'd take one hell of a shuttle, but yeah. We have the machines now. In theory, we could do it. Especially if we had some sort of international cooperation.
International cooperation in space. A space shuttle, but shuttling what to where? We also hear talk of Russian and American Skylabs and the men men who live and work in them for several months at a time. But what are they all doing up there in space? We tend to think of the arms race and the space race as practically the same thing. Visits by one side to the other. Here, Soviet technicians and astronauts are greeted by their American counterparts, have been dismissed as diplomatic courtesies.
We have a working relationship that's quite good with the Soviet Union. I'm sure it's going to continue.
But the Russians were the first in space with their Sputnik in 1957. And later the same year, the first with a living creature, Laika, the dog. Then they made, 3 years later, the gigantic step with the first man in space, Yuri Gagarin. And later on, the first woman, Valentina. The drive to make the first man on the moon an American was launched by President Kennedy.
First wave of modern invention and the first wave of nuclear power. And this generation does not intend to founder in the backwash of the coming age of space. We mean to be a part of it. We mean to lead it.
By the late 60s, the Russians, it seemed, had simply dropped out and stopped trying. And yet today, Cape Canaveral is virtually abandoned, a desert of reinforced concrete and steel. The most ambitious project in the history of mankind seemed to be over. Are we to believe that this is where it all ends? Of the estimated 2,000 launchings from Earth to space, at least 60% have been by the Russians. The near side of the moon's surface, the side visible to us here on Earth. The flags indicate acknowledged landings of American and Soviet craft. Among the spaceships the Russians sent up was the Vostok, supposedly not intended to reach the moon's surface. But in 1972, this sighting was recorded.
More detail, please. Can you give more detail of what you are seeing?
The Russian Vostok flights took place in the early 60s. They were, as we've said, Earth-orbiting spaceships, not designed to reach the moon. So what are we to make of this casual suggestion by Houston Mission Control, and an equally casual acceptance by the lunar module piloted, that in 1972, an obsolete Russian spaceship is orbiting the moon, flashing its lights? The Russians were the first on the moon, with their unmanned rocket which landed here in 1959. Here, exactly 10 years later, Neil Armstrong landed. But our researches show another pattern of landings. On the far side of the moon, the dark side, the side hidden from us here on Earth. Are we to assume that this remarkable grouping of American and Soviet landings is mere coincidence? We connected up the printed circuit and played once again the videotape that Sir William Ballantyne, before his death, had sent to his friend John Hendry. This time we obtained an acceptable picture, which you are now about to see as we saw it.
Comrades, can you hear me in Houston? We're getting a good picture here and can make a fair amount of detail. How is it with you? Fine here, Houston. Roger. Stand by to scan. Can you remind me your sound?
We believe that to be an authentic record of the first and secret landing on Mars by an unmanned space probe from Earth. We also believe the date given, May the 22nd, 1962, to be accurate. Clearly, the blanket of total security by which this information has been covered could only have been maintained by the active cooperation of governments at very high level. Equally clearly, there must have been powerful reasons why the true conditions on Mars, suitable as they appear to be for human habitat, have been kept secret. Indeed, the effort which has gone into persuading the rest of the world that the opposite is true argues that some operation of supreme importance has been going on beneath this security cover. We believe that that operation is Dr. Carl Gerstein's Alternative 3. Whether a human survival colony has already been established on Mars, or whether plans are still in preparation for its transportation from the Moon to Mars, we don't know. But we put out this program tonight as a challenge to those who do know to tell us the truth. We regret if the implications of what you've seen are less than optimistic for the future of life on this planet. It has been our task, however, to present the facts as we understand them and to await the response. Good night.